Good morning, students. So we'll start with the class here. So we had come down to benefits of human resource planning, wherein we had seen the nature of human resource planning, supply of skilled manpower, rapid technological change. I think one more are supposed to join. Okay. And then we had looked into cost of recruitment and hiring, increased mobility, reduction of wastages, then human resource as corporate assets, size of the firm, profitability, and management development, right? So these were the benefits which we had already looked in, okay, to just give a glance of it, right? So basically, when it comes to the supply nature of human resource, right? So here nature of human resource is basically the necessities of the human resource planning does have a base from the nature of human resource. Okay, so nature of human resource has four critical features. One is for higher skills a very long time is required for workers to achieve full productivity, right? Second is the person generally achieves higher productivity the longer he is on the job. Okay, that is the second nature of manpower. First nature of manpower is higher for higher skills. Okay, a very long time is required for worker to achieve full productivity, right? Second, a person generally achieves higher productivity the longer he is on the job. Third nature of the human resource is a person's mental satisfaction affects his productivity. Okay, as well as the investment in human being belongs to the individual uh, who may take his skills what where he goes. Okay, so these are various nature of human resource which are benefited through proper human resource planning. So if you plan for proper human resource, you can have skilled labor force, you can have higher productivity, as well as you can have achieve job satisfaction for the employees in your organization. Then second, you have supply of skilled manpower. Okay, so here talented and skilled human resource have become scarce resources and are always in short supply. Okay, so obviously as we have a word which is being always being told in India, so Indian companies can employ. There is no shortage of employment in Indian companies, right? You have a number of jobs available in Indian companies, but only there is shortage of employable people. Okay, so here employable in the sense having the right skill, right talent, right competence required for the job. So basically that is in shortage. Okay, so here, when it comes to supply of skilled manpower, it has become very scarce resource and always in short supply. So proper human resource planning is very much necessary for long run survival of the business firm. So if you want your business firm to survive for a longer period of time, you need to see to it that you plan the human resource in such a way that you will not have a shortfall of the skilled manpower in your organization, right? So that is one of the benefit of resource planning. The third benefit of human resource planning is rapid technological change. With the changing technology, with the wink of an eye, the technology keeps on changing. Okay, the change is very fast. Okay, pace of technological change has accelerated. So direction of technological change has decreased jobs for unskilled workers. So with the change in the technology, obviously, it has decreased jobs for unskilled workers, but it has increased the demand for skilled workers. Okay. So here, as and when the technology keeps on changing, you have uh, decrease the job of unskilled workers and increase the job of skilled workers. Okay, so here technological change makes retraining a must for many current job holders. So whenever the technological change is there, okay, you cannot every time keep on recruiting people. So what you have to do is existing manpower whatever is there, you have to plan for training of those people in your organization and make them skilled to work on that particular machinery or technology or whatever it is, right? So that's what is the benefit of human resource planning. So if you have proper human resource planning in your organization, you can plan well before the change of technology which will happen. You can understand, okay, that this is the technological change which is going to happen in future, and you have to train your manpower for that particular thing. So that is one of the benefit of human resource planning. So human resource planning is nothing but forward looking for the need of human resource in your organization. Apart from that, am I audible, students? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Okay, so apart from that, the next particular thing is increased mobility and cost of recruitment and hiring. So when it comes to cost of recruitment and hiring, highly skilled persons are in short supply. Obviously, they demand a better and higher salary. Okay, so it is very costly to hire and maintain them, right? So highly skilled personnel, it is very costly to hire and maintain them. So recruitment and training cost, or the pension and gratuity, provident fund, and other fringe benefits, the cost of all these things keeps on raising. Okay, so cost of hiring of new workers is very high. Okay, so higher recruitment cost encourages upgrading from within. So here, in order to avoid this cost which is being spent, or expenses which have been which do spend on recruitment of new manpower, so instead of that, if you have proper human resource in your organization, you can train your employees. Okay, you can see to it that you fill the vacancies with the current employees itself and make them multi-skilled. Okay, see to it that they do two or three jobs. Okay, one particular person is skilled in two to three jobs, so that you can compensate for the vacancies whatever have arisen in the organization. So basically, cost of recruitment and hiring is reduced if you have proper human resource planning in hand. That is one of the benefit of human resource planning. Apart from that, increased mobility. Okay, so human resource has created a problem for management to retain qualified employees. So increased mobility of human resource has created a problem for management to retain qualified employees. So there is nothing to keep the workers from moving on from one job to another job. Okay, or a job which is very attractive. So as a result, basically individuals or employers face greater difficulties in holding preferred employees. Okay, so proper workforce planning, if it is done, if you plan the workforce in a proper way, probably there are all the chances that you can retain the skilled manpower in your organization, and you can reduce this increased mobility. Okay, so that is one of the benefit of human resource planning. Apart from that, reduction of wastages. Obviously, when you have proper planning in hand, okay, you plan for manpower in a right way. Obviously, it reduces the wastage. Okay, so it is also referred to as labor turnover and attrition rate. So it reduces the labor turnover and attrition rates. Okay, so wastage rate is determined in a variety of ways. Okay, so it may be less, it is less among older employees, it is less among long service employees. Okay, so it is less among more highly skilled employees, it is less among men than women. Okay, so here basically when it comes to obviously when you're recruiting a particular person, you're spending something on that particular recruitment process. Okay, selection process, and you're spending something on the orientation and the induction of that particular employee. Automatically when that particular employee gets trained in everything and ultimately leaves your organization, it is the wastage of the financial aspect is entirely wasted. Okay, and the efforts of the HR department and the time of the HR department as well as other departments entirely wastage. So this wastage can be reduced when you have proper human resource planning in your hand. Okay, people leave your organization only when they are not satisfied with the job or not satisfied with the culture of the organization. Okay, so you see to it that with proper human resource planning, you put them in the right job. Okay, utilize their skills, give them better career options, better career growth in the organization, and ultimately they are retained in the organization for a longer period of time. Okay, so that if that is done, then 100% reduction of wastages will be there. So that is one of the benefit of human resource planning. Apart from that, human resource as corporate assets. Okay, so staffing planning stresses the value of human resource as corporate assets. So management basically has learned that if it neglects the individuals, he or she is not likely to develop into that kind of performer that the firm wants. Okay, so human resource should be seen as a corporate assets. Okay, so if human resource is neglected and you do not have proper planning for the human resource in your organization, automatically what happens? The employee ultimately will be demotivated, and finally he will leave the organization. Okay, so you will not get the ultimate performance what you required from that particular person. So return on investment, that is human resource return on investment, will not be there if you go in for if you do not have proper human resource planning in hand. Apart from that, size of the firm. Okay, So here interest in human resource planning increases because of the size of firm. So obviously any firm will not be a small firm, it keeps on developing. Okay, as the size of the firm increases, if you have proper staffing plan, then ultimately you can meet the needs of the firm whenever it is required. Okay, so here satisfaction is optimized if you have proper human resource planning in hand. Okay, and you can usually easily achieve the objectives of the organization if you have better human resource planning in hand. So that is one of the benefit of human resource planning. Apart from that, profitability, obviously, if you have better human resource planning in hand, you will have better profits being achieved by the organization. Okay, the fact that employee productivity is major factor in profitability has stimulated interest in rationalizing of work and incentive systems to motivate the workers. Okay, so this is one of the benefit of HRP. Fine. Apart from that, management development, right? So here, proper human resource planning ensures development of managers through proper training programs. Okay, so you can develop better leaders. You can develop a better management philosophy if you have better human resource planning in hand. So these are the various benefits of human resource planning. Okay, now coming on to emerging trends or recent happenings or developments or projections of human resource planning. So as per the survey conducted by Genius Consultants, okay, so 43 out of 779 companies across sectors, various sectors, plan to increase their manpower up to 15%. Okay, so here, basically, the manufacturing pips IT to be top employment generator. So right now, IT is or information technology is a top employment generator. Okay, that is one of the fact which is to be accepted here, right? So as per the Times Job study of 700 employers, so it was revealed that manufacturing in the top employment generator, manufacturing the top employment generators as the year unfolds. The mid-year job outlook survey also saw demand for mid-level managers picking up. Fine. So other findings of the survey is that IT and telecom, okay, and manufacturing and engineering take the lead as a key employment generator. So IT, telecom, and manufacturing concerns as well as engineering industries take a key lead in employment generators. Okay, some other forecast in this regard include metros or tier 2 or tier 3 cities to witness maximum hiring employers hiring. Okay, so employers to remain cautious on staff levels, employers to focus on upskilling existing workforce. So there was two focus of employers. One is remaining cautious on staff levels, that means on recruitment procedures and policies. So they have to be remain cautious for that, as well as focus on upskilling of existing workforce. That is one of the thing which is the emerging trend into human resource planning, right? Apart from that, the second point was India Incorporation, okay, faces talent crunch at mid level. Okay, a survey of 350 CXOs, okay, and business heads in Mumbai, Bangalore, and Delhi, conducted by Singapore headquarters Emirates Institute of Management, has revealed that India Incorporation faces a dearth of talent at the middle level management across sectors and locations that could derail the entire country's growth prospects. Okay, so around 88% of CXOs said that hiring is the biggest challenge, followed by skill gap. Okay, or retention of high potential employees. These were the problems which were being faced by these people. One was followed, which is filling the skill gap, then retention of high potential employees and talent development of the existing employees. So innovation and strategic thinking is most important skill gap to be addressed nationally. So around 82% of the respondents across the three metros agreed on need of providing lifelong learning to employees. Okay, so they agreed that you have to have learning organizations into existence, that is need of providing lifelong learning for the employees in your organization. Okay, so that was the mid level crunch which happened here. Then 95% of Indian laborers force lack vocational skills. Okay, so 95% of the Indian laborers the Indian labor force lacks vocational skills. According to the report of City and Guilds groups, so the City and Group Guilds Skill Confidence Report, which is global study around among 8,000 employees in India, UK, and USA and South Africa. About 95% of the Indian labor force lacks formal vocational skills. So in India, a study was conducted by Census Wide during May 2016 with 2,055 respondents, including 272 CEOs or senior leaders, so 532 middle managers, and 1,251 general employees. Okay, so there exists a serious skill gap that need to be filled as early as possible. So this is the problem with Indian laborers, my dear students. Okay, so here this particular study clearly showed that there is a big skill gap. Okay, so panel of HR leaders shared their perspective on themes mentioned. Okay, so it was held in China. The panel discussion was led by C. Ram Kumar, head HR TCS. Okay, then K. Thompson, Chief HR Manager, Blue Dart Aviations. Vijay Iyer, Chief Business Officer, HCL Talent Care, among others. Okay, so all these were the points which were being brought in, wherein they clearly identified that 95% of the Indian labor force lacks vocational skills. Okay, so Indians see tech risk to career prospects, right? So that is one of the aspect here. So it is in its first skill confidence report based on a study of 8,000 employees in UK, USA, South Africa, and India. Global skill development firm City and Guilds Group mentioned that India was only market in the four nation study where 91% of the employees felt that the skill would become obsolete in the next 5 years. Okay, so an automation, artificial intelligence, and so on could replace a number of current jobs, right? Skill gap in Indian organizations were the most among the four nations covered under the study. Okay, so as per the study, top five skills that Indian employees considered are leadership skills, management skills, technical skills related to the current job, communication skills, and IT skills. So these were the top five skills that Indian employees considered as really very much important, right? So basically top skills for the future would be managing complexities, innovation mindset, dealing with ambiguity. Okay, so these are the top three skills which are required in future, but they were not considered as important in Indian uh, organizations. Okay, so here basically HR analytics, if you could see, my dear students, analytics in HR or analytics in marketing or analytics in finance or whatever it is, it long back it was being introduced. Okay, and recently maybe around some years back, okay, around 5 to 6 years back or 10 years back, it is implemented in Indian organizations. So here IT skills are really obsolete, IT skills are really in shortage. Okay, so present Indian employees feel that their skills become obsolete, will become obsolete in next 5 years, coming 5 years, and they have to upgrade themselves. That is what the feeling of Indian employees was there, right? So Indians see tech career as career prospects. So they identified that technological learning the technology or tech career is really the career prospects, and they have to learn that particular sector. Okay, they have to be very much well versed and skilled in that particular sector, right? Then IT sector to lose jobs substantially. Okay, so USA based research firm HFC is predicting that basically by 2021, the IT industry worldwide would see a net decrease of 9% in headcount and about 1.4 million jobs, with countries such as Philippines and UK and USA also taking this hit. So this was predicted, my dear students, but basically now with this particular pandemic being coming in by 2020 and 2021. Okay, so there is lot of stress and importance being given for information technology, because everything has been started from work from home. You are required to be very much skilled in, you know, all the technological aspects, there's like softwares. Okay, and everything, right? So that is what we could see. So Indian IT industries uh, they had understood that 30% uh, they will lose because of this particular automation being coming in, but basically that has not happened. So probably there is a lot of automation, there is a lot of IT being involved in it, okay, because of this sudden pandemic which has happened, right? So that is what we could see the IT sectors lose jobs substantially. What that prediction which was being made, if this pandemic was not there, obviously that would have happened, okay, but basically that has not yet happened in India specifically, because the skilled workforce is very less, right? Then plan to increase a formal workforce, okay. So here 25th 5-year plan is to increase formal workforce. So India has a total workforce of around 500 million plus. Out of this, 90% of the are working in unorganized sector, often deprived of social security benefits, right? So that is one of the trend which is there. Apart from that, Indian companies still most bullish on hiring, right? So Indian companies are really more bullish on hiring. As per Manpower Employment Outlook survey of 5,100 employers across the country, conducted by Manpower Group, Indian employers have emerged as the most bullish in the world in terms of recruitment for the fourth consecutive quarter, as the survey found that payrolls are expected to grow in all four regions, okay, and seven industry sectors. So, service sector having reported the strongest hiring prospects with a net employment growth of 44%, followed by transportation and utilities sector with an outlook of 38%, and so on. Okay, so here it is Indian companies are said to be more bullish on hiring. Okay, apart from that, digital officers will be much in demand in future because of the information technology being coming in, right? Then workforce diversity and gender bias. Okay, so that is one of the major issue when it comes to Indian industries human resource planning. Okay, so decades of research by organizations, scientists, psychologists, sociologists, or economists, or demographers show that socially diverse groups. Okay, with socially diverse group in the sense. Those which are diverse in race, ethnic, gender, sexual orientation, okay, so are more innovative than homogeneous groups. So people who are different from one another in race, gender, and other dimensions bring unique information and experiences to the work environment. So that is really proved by the research. So while all diversity dimensions are important, it is increasingly being recognized that women do bring substantive diversity to the organization in terms of skill sets and experience. Okay, so women are more as a leader into bringing in a lot of changes or a lot of innovations in skill sets and experiences, right? And in terms of bringing different styles of leaderships, right? So although women constitute a substantial part of total population of our country, their participation in workforce is nowhere near the appropriate mark. So what happens is basically they are not given that much of power, that much of position in the organization, so that they can put forth their innovation and put forth their creativity. Okay, that much of freedom of work is not being given for women in Indian industries, right? So that is one of the sorry figure which really brings in into Indian industries, right? So it is all that the more or less in top jobs of the organization across the country. Okay, though the Constitute of India guarantees equality of opportunities, which includes women also, but that basically is not happening. Okay, so while it is easier to improve gender diversity at lower levels, okay, companies across industries find it difficult to increase the number at the top management level. Right. So as they move up the hierarchy, women managers drop out due to several reasons. So, however, of late, basically there is a lot of trends which are being changing. We have more of women who are heading many organizations, okay, but probably that is very less in number, right? So however, growing tendency of increasing the share of women, so especially in the mid and top cadre management is being observed. A few cases at hand do show in a lot of changes which have happened. Okay, So it may also be pointed out that that at Densa, women make up 50% of the staff at the entry level. Okay, there are many companies which do give equal opportunity to women, but basically it is short, very less in number. Okay, so workforce diversity is to be taken into consideration. Obviously, apart from women, there are other gender of people who need to be taken care of, and they need to be given equal opportunities also. Okay, so that is one of the human resource planning emerging trends. So you have to plan in such a way that you give equal opportunities for men, women, transgender, okay, and other type of employees, right? You have to give equal importance to everyone, right? In future, we'll see a great demand of GST consultants. Okay, there are a lot of great demands for GST consultants. Okay, GST is one of the factor which is growing now, right? So every company wants to bring in a lot of opportunity, a lot of opportunities wherein probably they will be very much well versed into the financial sectors, right? So that's what we say, GST consultants, there will be more demand in future. That is one of the emerging trends when it comes to human resource planning. Now probably workforce diversity, so only about 11% of 240 large companies surveyed by EMA partners have female CEOs. Okay, so India ranks among the lowest in the world in the lowest labor force, lowest female labor force participation. Okay, so of late there are certain changes. So Tata's do groom 300 female leaders for top post across group companies, right? Densa is keen to have 50% of the female staff. Ericsson's, okay, had to have 30% of the women in its board. So women to make up 30% of the headcount in 5 years in Edelweiss. Okay, so like this, many companies right now they have changed the shape of the organization, wherein they also give equal opportunities for the women employees, right? Labor turnover, basically when we speak about labor turnover, that is also one of the factor which which needs to be looked in when it comes to human resource planning. So turnover refers to movement of employees into and out of the organization by the workforce. Okay, so causes of high labor turnover basically is unavoidable factors, that is personal betterment, okay, and illness or accident, right? And death or retirement, or discharge due to insubordination or marriage. These are unavoidable factors which you cannot do anything, right? So if a person feels that he is not satisfied with the present job, is not satisfied with the present compensation which he is earning, he may or she may leave the organization for his own personal betterment. Or if he feels, or if he or she feels that they are not achieving any growth and not learning anything into the present job, they may leave the organization for betterment. Or one of the other cause of high rate in labor turnover is, which is unavoidable factor, that is illness and accident. Obviously, if a person is ill, obviously they cannot continue in the job. If he is affected with an accident, okay, that time he may not be able to go ahead with the job. Okay, death or retirement, discharge due to insubordination, probably if he is not able to cope up with these people in the organization, cope up with the boss, that time they may leave the organization. Obviously, again, one is marriage. Basically, in case of female employees, okay, so when they get married, probably they have to move to their husband's house. That time they have to leave the job. So these are unavoidable factors. Apart from that, we have avoidable factors which can be concentrated by the organization. Okay, so these avoidable factors can be curbed so that the labor turnover is reduced to minimum in the organization. So avoidable factors are lack of congenial and healthy atmosphere in the factory. So if the or an atmosphere in the factory is not really good, it is not, healthy atmosphere is not there. That time what happens is the employees health is being affected, because of which automatically they have to leave the organization. Okay, so you have to have a healthy environment in the organization. You have to build a healthy atmosphere in the organization. You have to have proper communication, proper facilities being given to the employees in the organization. Apart from that, lack of proper facilities and amenities. Okay, so you need to see to it that you meet the need of the employees. I think some to join. You have to see to it that you meet the need of the employees, okay, by giving them proper facilities and proper amenities. Okay, proper facilities and amenities in the sense, basically the canteen facility, okay, or any other sort of facilities, right? So that facility is to be taken into consideration. Okay, so you have to give proper facilities as well as amenities to your workers, like PPE kits, personal protective equipments, and all those things to avoid accidents and all those things, right? So apart from that, low wages, ill treatment, and so on. So you have to see to it that you avoid this low wage, you give proper wage according to the performance of the employees. Then afterwards, you should see to it that ill treatment of the workers, that means taking too much of overtime. Okay, and do not respect the people, do not respect your employees. Okay, not giving a proper ear to the grievance of the employees, and so on. If these things are avoided, probably your employee will be happy in your organization and work well in your organization. Apart from that, lack of opportunities for employee growth and promotion. Okay, so that is one of the aspect to which because of which many people leave the organization. If you're not giving proper opportunities for your employees to grow in your organization, and you do not give proper promotion, you do not recognize their work, automatically they are the people who will be first to leave the organization, because everyone works for M factor, that is money, right? So if that growth or promotion is not being given properly, people will not stay in your organization, so that should be avoided. Okay, apart from that, redundancy due to lack of planning and foresight on the part of higher management, right? So planning should be done in a proper way. If there is lot of lack in planning, there are a lot of mess which will be created in the organization, because of which employees may not perform better. Automatically, if they do not perform better, the compensation given or promotions or increments will not be given. Obviously they will not be happy with the organization. Okay, as well as you have to have a foresight on part of higher management. That means you have to identify what changes may happen in future, and immediately before those changes happen, you have to implement that change in your organization, make your employees ready for that particular change. If that is not done, obviously immediately when the change is brought, the resistance will be there and people will leave your organization. Okay, and all other factors which are there, which is to be looked in, right? So these are avoidable factors. So in case if you avoid these factors and you see to it that your employees are happy in your organization, your labor turnover will be reduced to maximum extent. Okay, which gives a plus point for the human resource planning in your organization. Okay, so basically difference between contract workers or recruiting people on company role, right? So contract workers and company role employees. Okay, before that, um, why this particular contract workers or company role employees. So when it comes to human resource planning, the major decision which is being taken by human resource manager is whether I have to go in for company role employees, or whether I have to go in for contract employees instead of recruiting new manpower. Okay, these are two options which the human resource manager will be having, whether I should train my company employees or I should immediately get in contract employees to get this work done. Okay, which is in hand. When there is short time for um, production to start in, so that time this is the decision which is being taken. So difference between this contract workers and company role employees: expertise. Okay, so when it comes to contract workers, more experienced and skilled people, you will be having more experienced as well as skilled people. But when it comes to company role employees, you will not have so much skilled employees, you have to train them. That is the difference. Okay, so intended duration: contract employees will be for a shorter duration, and company role employees will be for a long duration, long period. Okay, backlog of workers: there will be no backlogs. Okay, but may have backlogs. Okay, backlog of work. So company role employees may keep the backlog of work, they may not finish the production in time, but the contract workers, obviously they will not keep the backlog, because their production will, their compensation will be based on the production. Okay, that particular days, um, whatever target is there, based on that the compensation will be based for them. Maternity cover: there is no leave for contract employees. Probably there will be 6 months, 12 months leave for, or 3 months, 2 months, 2.5 months leave for company role employees, depending on the law of that particular region. And probation, it is judged and decided for the contract employees whether we should keep them in probation or what. Once the contract is over, the employees will be moving out of the organization. But when it comes to company role employees, you have to decide and you have to judge and you have to give a clear picture as to why probation is being continued, or they are not being given permanency, or whatever it is, right? Old technology, okay, contract workers accept the old technology, company role employees reject the old technology because they want to grow. Okay, contract workers are only related to the work, right? New technology, when it comes to new technology, contract workers need not require any training, because you will be employing the workers who are already trained on that particular work. Okay, so that is one of the benefit of contract workers. But when it comes to company role employees, training is required for new technology. Legal complications, less responsibility of contract workers, more responsibility when it comes to company role employees. So if you could see, plus point of contract workers are more than company role employees. Okay, so here majority of the companies, what they do when they are going for human resource planning, and they have the own, in a sense, whenever they'll be getting the license of the factory, they'll be also getting the labor, in the sense how much of contract laborers you will be employing, how much of badli workers you will be employing, how much of permanent workers you will be having in hand, how much of professional workers you will be employing. So there will be certain specific number of human resource which can be recruited. You have to also take the license from a labor inspector for recruiting the manpower within the organization. You cannot exceed that limits whatever you have. Okay, so based on you have categories of employees. So padli workers maybe 100, contract workers maybe 100, like this. You have to specify the number, how much of contract workers, how much of badli workers, how much of permanent workers you will be employing in your organization. So total number should not be exceeded. Okay, so that is one of the condition which is being put by the labor inspector, right? So here, my dear students, many a times company go for contract workers when there is short time, and you cannot go for recruitment and all those things, right? So that time they go for contract employees, or you have some new technology and you immediately require skilled employees. Company doesn't want to spend on training of the employees, company role employees. That time they go for contract employees. Okay, so like this, human resource planning is a continuous process, and it is a very complex process. Lot of decisions are to be taken. Okay, so let me put forth certain examples of human resource planning here. Right, Birla Sun Life, I hope you all know about this particular company. So headcount or manpower is built into the organization's business plan itself. So whenever they are doing the business plan of the organization, that time the manpower planning of the organization also will be done based on objectives, competitive scenarios, strategies, major initiatives, and action plan of the business. Each functional head draws up a resource plan, okay, across the levels for the year. Okay, so for the coming year, each departmental head or each functional head draws up the resource plan, how much of manpower is required for the coming year. So such requirements are supported and justified by job description. So they have to also give the requirement of manpower as well as the job description and specification of the various positions which they have quoted. Okay, the plan is then broken into month wise headcount requirement plan, and then obviously they go in for um, recruiting the employees based on monthly basis. Okay, so as reported in second national commission report on labor report, following rights of the workers have been recognized as inalienable and a must. Okay, so while doing human resource planning, okay, so these points are to be kept in mind according to the second national commission report on labor, right to work of one's own choice and social security. Okay, so you have to give the right to the workers to work on their own choice. You cannot force any labor or any employee to work on a particular job without his or her intention or acceptance, right? So that is one of the thing which is to be kept when it comes to human resource planning. You cannot overload the worker, overload the employees with work. Okay, so it should be the choice of the employee, as well as you have to give social security to the employee, PF, ESI, and other benefits are to be given. Then right against discrimination, you cannot discriminate among the men and women within the organization. Okay, that is one of the thing. When you are planning for your human resource, when you are planning for promotions or increments, or maybe filling up the vacancies or whatever it is, you cannot discriminate. That is one of the things which is to be understood. Then probation of prohibition of child labor. So you cannot go in for employing the child labor. Okay, so you have to see to it that the age of the employee is being judged when you are recruiting a particular employee. Apart from that, protection of wages, rights to guarantee wages. Okay, so every month on the 7th of the month, you have to disperse the payments of your employees. Okay, so if the protection of wages, you cannot deduct anything from the wages of the employees, the salary of the employees. Okay, there are certain laws which says that some type kind of deductions are okay, you can go in for deductions like loan taken against salary and all those things. Okay, but apart from that, you cannot deduct any wages from the employees. So right to readdress the grievance, you have to readdress the grievance. Right to organize and form trade unions, so companies cannot resist forming the trade unions in the organization. So trade unions can be made within the organization. So many of the companies, what they do is directly they may not pinch the trade unions forming in the organization, but indirectly they may break the trade unions which are formed in the organization, because unions are seen as as a lack in the sense, unions are not taken as a positive in terms of management. Okay, they are seen as a negative in terms of management, right? So probably unions are seen as a problem creators within the organization. So basically they do not pinch the trade unions forming, but probably illegally or maybe indirectly they may do it. Okay, right to collective bargaining. Okay, employees have all the rights to come and speak about the requirements. Okay, employer also has all the rights to come and speak about the requirements. Mutually they have to bargain collectively and come out with the solution for any problem which is happening in the organization. Right to participation in management, unions, the trade unions as well as the employees have all the rights to participate in the decisions of the management. Okay, so all these things are to be taken into consideration when you're planning for your human resource. Okay, so a very nice example here. So existing human resource, that is capability skill inventory using HR information system. So every organization will be having an information system, that is a software of HR which will be there, which will be giving all the details of a particular employee, that is name, sex, date of birth, martial status, present address, permanent address, department designation, date of joining, salary, grade, qualification, okay, experience and skills, outstanding achievements or additional information. Everything is being received at one shot. Okay, that is the existing inventory of human resource what you should have in your hand. So this is the must when it comes to human resource planning. Okay, so here based on this existing human resource, you can go in for internal supply of human resource. What is my internal supply of human resource? Okay, so here when we go for supply forecasting, okay, demand forecasting and supply forecasting, when we speak about supply forecasting, we will be looking into internal supply as well as external supply of manpower. So internal supply of manpower, for that you have to calculate the turnover rate, absenteeism rate, as well as productivity level of present employees. Okay, so here turnover rate, it refers to the rate of employees leaving the organization. So it is calculated by number of separations in a year divided by average number of employees during the year into 100. Okay, absenteeism, that is unauthorized absence from the work. When you take a leave, okay, when you get a fill it in a leave card and take the permission from your HOD as well as HR department, probably it is being counted as leave. But without information, if you absent yourself from the duty, it is called as absenteeism. So rate of absenteeism, total absentees in a year divided by average number of employees into number of working days into 100. Okay, productivity level, output divided by input. Okay, so all these things are being taken into consideration, and then they identify the internal supply of manpower. Okay, how much would be the internal supply of the manpower? So when it comes to external supply of manpower, obviously they will be looking into various sources through which they go for getting the supply of manpower. It may be through advertisements, it may be through consultants, it may be through campus recruitments or unsolicited applications or employee referrals. So there they go in for calculating the yield ratio, okay, which are estimated in the process of hiring applications. For example, if the ad is being put in a paper and the ad generates 2000 applications, okay. So in the last year, there was an ad which was being put in the paper and it generated 2000 applications, in which 200 were potential applications. So ratio is 10 is to 1. Okay. So out of 200, 40 attended the interview. Ratio became 5 is to 1. Out of 40, 30 were offered the job. Okay, ratio becomes 4 is to 3. So out of 30, 20 accepted, 3 is to 2. So overall yield ratio, okay, 2000 applications and 20 accepted the job. 2000 is to 20, that is 100 is to 1. So for every 100 application, you will get one right candidate. Okay, that is the yield ratio which is being calculated for everything, and then they identify which is the best yield ratio for every 100 applications. If I get 30 or 40 best employees, or maybe 10 best employees, then that would be the best yield ratio. That means that would be the best source of hiring for this particular position. Okay, so position wise it is being done. Now moving on to techniques to deal with imbalance in labor supply. Okay, so here when there is imbalance of labor supply, in spite of all the planning which is being done, there may be imbalance of labor supply which may happen in the organization. So what are various techniques through which you can deal with this imbalance in labor supply? One is shortage of labor and surplus of labor. Okay, so shortage of labor, whenever there is shortage of labor, you can go in for recruiting new employees. Okay, then by taking much lead time. Okay, then offer incentives for postponing retirement. Okay, whatever, whoever are the people who are going to retire in your organization, you offer them incentives and you keep them on contractual basis. This is what most of the organizations do. Okay, the people who are going to retire and really they are efficient enough and effective enough in the organization, obviously they may go in for rehiring the offering incentives and postponing their retirement. Okay, apart from that, the retired employees whoever are there already, who have retired and gone from the organization, you rehire them for part-time basis on a contractual basis. Okay, then attempt to reduce turnover, try to see to it that you reduce the turnover. Okay, and then work present staff overtime. Obviously you can reduce the turnover by going for understanding the exit interview. Okay, so here, my dear students, whenever an employee leaves the organization, there is an exit interview which is being done. Okay, so in this particular exit interview, employee will be writing the reason for leaving the organization, the dissatisfied factor which happened in the organization, or satisfying factors which are there in the organization. Everything is being understood or written by the employee in the exit interview. So that time they can go for review of the exit interview and understand why people are leaving the organization and curb that particular reason for which the people are leaving. Try to patch it up, and then obviously you can reduce the turnover. Okay, then work present staff overtime. Try to take overtime from the present staff by giving them better incentives. Okay, obviously overtime pay will be there, which is double the salary. Okay, apart from that, subcontract work. Okay, if nothing is possible, then you go in for contracting that particular work, you give it to some other concern. Okay, wherein you subcontract that particular work. Then apart from that, hire temporary hands for few days, or maybe for few months you hire temporary hands, re-engineer to reduce work. Okay, see to it that you re-engineer the entire process, so that the work which is not very much required or which is wastage of time is reduced, and you achieve the production in time. Okay, then outsource the entire function. Okay, then use new technology, try to bring in new technology wherein manpower requirement reduces. Reallocate people from elsewhere in the organization. Probably if some people are working in another branch of the organization, so that time if work is not there, reallocate them to this particular concern, this particular branch, so that you get the work done. And reallocate the work tasks from among the employees, make their employees multi-skilled. Reallocate the work tasks, use the employees in 2 3 jobs. Okay, and see to it that they work well. Okay, so this is the technique. These are the techniques through which you can deal with shortage of labor. Now what happens when you have surplus of labor? Okay, so here you cannot replace. That means do not replace employees who have leaves. Okay, whenever they have leaves. Okay, whenever there is surplus of labor and you have more labor in an organization and less work, so that time what the organization says is, whatever CLs or ELs are there, you take those ELs and you go for 1.5 month vacation or whatever it is, right? So do not replace the workers or employees who have gone on leave. Let they go on leave, give them leave and send them off. Okay, that is one of the technique to deal with surplus of labor. Offer incentives for early retirement. People who are going to retire in your organization, you give them early retirement. Okay, and offer them incentives for going for early retirement. Transfer or reassign excess staff. Okay, so if you have less work in this particular branch, you can transfer to another branch where there is a lot of work, or reassign the excess staff to some other work. Okay, or you can go for using the slack time for employee training. Now this is what the most of the organizations do. Whenever they have surplus of labor, whatever lag time is there, so that time what they do is, in that particular slack time, they use that particular time for training. Okay, and this is how the training calendar is being prepared in the organization. Every organization prepares its own training calendar for that particular year, and you use that slack time for employee training or equipment maintenance and all those things, right? Then reduce work hours. Okay, you try to reduce the work, if nothing can be done, you reduce the work hours itself. Okay, you cut down the shifts and bring it to only general shift. Okay, and then or cut down the entire 8 hours or 9 hours work and make it half day, whatever it is. Or you lay off your employees, you send your employees for temporary leave for some days, and freeze hiring. Now, these are the various techniques through which you can deal with surplus of labor. I hope till here it is clear, my dear students. Any doubts, any explanation you require in today's class? Any doubts, my dear students? Neminath, you are present? Harshal, please unmute yourself. Neminath, Harshal. Harshal Patankar, Neminath, please unmute yourself. Sneha Kamte, please unmute yourself. Be quick, students. Okay. Is whatever I have explained in the class, is it understood? Any doubts?
Yes, ma'am. No doubts, ma'am.
Okay. Pranali Kangralkar,
Yes,
No
ma'am.
doubts, ma'am.
Rachel,
No doubt.
Rachel Futtadu, Rachel, Shreya.
No doubts, ma'am.
Okay, very nice. Rachel, are you there, Rachel? Naina?
No
No
doubts,
doubts,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay, great. Nice. Okay. So students, the next part we'll be dealing in the next class. Okay. Right. This much for today. Thank you very much, students.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you, ma'am. Thank
Thank
you,
you,
ma'am.
ma'am.